Yeah, write your roll numbers in the chat box. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So in the last lecture, we started our discussion on Zigbee. Actually, I told you on a Saturday during the tutorial hour, we will discuss third unit, and in regular lectures, we will be discussing fourth, fifth, and sixth unit, which are remaining. Right. So from the fifth unit, we have actually covered BLE. BLE stands for Bluetooth Low Energy, and uh, also we have started our discussion with Zigbee. Right. So let us have a quick review of Zigbee, whatever introductory part of that we have discussed, and during which I told you Zigbee is a technological standard which is designed for control and sensor network, right? And it is standardized by IEEE 802.15.4, whereas this Bluetooth BLE, Bluetooth is standardized by 802.15.1, right? So you will find MCQs based on this in previous examinations. Bluetooth, it is 802.15.1, and Zigbee is a standard by IEEE 802.15.4. Then I told you it is created by Zigbee Alliance, right? So Zigbee operates in a personal area network, PAN म्हणतो आपण त्याला, right? And it is a device to device network. Then it provides connectivity between small pocket sized devices. It can control lights, switches, thermostats, etc. Right. So this Zigbee Alliance is an organization which is defining global standard for reliable, cost-effective, and low power appliances. This Zigbee is a standard that defines a set of communication protocols for low data rate, short range wireless networking. Zigbee based devices that are operating at three different bands of frequencies. One is at 868 megahertz. Then second one is at 915 megahertz, and third in 2.4 gigahertz. Last two are called as ISM frequency bands. The maximum data rate which is supported in the Zigbee is 250 kbps, right? So 250 kbps, of course, it is less than BLE, because we know that BLE supports a data rate of 300 kbps, whereas Zigbee supports data rate of 250 kbps. This Zigbee mainly targeted for battery powered applications, right? So the appliances which is making use of battery, they prefer to use the Zigbee protocol, Zigbee technology, where the low data rate, low cost, long battery life are main requirement. Then Zigbee devices spend most of the time in sleep mode, as I said. Then I think I have discussed about the duty cycle as well, right? So duty cycle defines how long the battery would last, right? So one example I told you, if the device is having duty cycle less than 1%, then it can ensure the maximum battery life. 1% duty cycle means what? One scenario I told you, if the device is wake up for let's say 1 minute, and if that device is active for 60 millisecond, then its duty cycle is less than 1%, right? We know what is duty cycle, T on upon T total. In this case, the time for which the device is active divided by time for which a complete device is, let's say, it is wake up, or you can say T on plus T off, right? So total time is in a, if you consider T on by T off. If its duty cycle is less than 1, it can ensure the maximum power, maximum battery. Then we have seen different frequencies, the operating frequencies. But before that, we have again considered those three technologies: Zigbee, Bluetooth, and BLE. So once again, I will ask the same question. If I wanted to have an application in which maximum data rate, a higher data rate is the requirement, which technology you will prefer? If I want higher data rate, which technology out of these you will prefer? See, this Zigbee supports 250 kbps, Bluetooth supports 3 mbps, and BLE supports 300 kbps. So of course the answer would be Bluetooth. So higher data rate, Bluetooth is preferred, right? So range, if I consider range, if I want higher range or longer range, in that case, which one is preferred? Zigbee is preferred because Zigbee is having 100 meter range. After that, in case suppose I want optimized range and optimized this thing data rate, in that case BLE is preferred. After that, we have seen these frequency bands. As I said, 868 band means it starts from 868 and it ends at 868.6 megahertz. Then second frequency band is at 900 to its 928 megahertz. This is second frequency band, and third frequency band is 2400 to 2483.5 megahertz. So these are the three frequency bands, and I told you first band, that is which is called as 868, right? And it is used basically in which country? It's used in Europe, right? We cannot use it. Then second band is 915 megahertz, and third band is 2.4 gigahertz. Those bands are also called as ISM band. ISM band means industrial, scientific, and medical. That is ISM frequency band. So you don't have to pay to use that band. But out of them, 915 megahertz band is used in America, North America, and this 2.4 gigahertz band is used worldwide. Means it is used for ordinary user from other rest of the countries. Now, after that, I talked about different device type, which includes FFD and RFD. Right? FFD means a full function device, and RFD means reduced function device. FFD can communicate with other RFDs, with other FFDs as well. But RFD can communicate only with FFD, not with other RFDs, not with other reduced function devices. So based on that concept, we can have two topologies: star topology and mesh topology. Right. So in a star topology, you can see P as a pan coordinator. It has to be a FFD, and other devices that can be a full function device or reduced function device. Right. So another scenario is mesh topology. In mesh topology, you can see here a pan coordinator is also there. So pan coordinator has to be a FFD, full function device, and other devices which are connected with that pan coordinator are reduced function devices, right? So this is how the mesh topology or star topology can be utilized for Zigbee. After that, we have seen this data transfer, or you can say connection establishment process in Zigbee. First scenario I told you, if the device want to transmit a data to a coordinator, the process is simple. Device will generate and send the data to coordinator, and if it is requested by device, then in that case coordinator will send acknowledgement back to the device. Right, so this is one scenario. Second scenario, if coordinator wants to transmit a data to the device, in that case device have to generate the request. So the data is requested by device. Then in response to that data request, coordinator will acknowledge that request. It is mandatory. Device have to respond. Wait, I'm sending the data. Right. After that, the coordinator can send the data, and after that, device may send acknowledgement, and it is optional. And similar to that, there is one more category, device to device data transfer. It is very similar to the first case in which we have seen data transfer between device and coordinator. Right? It is very much similar to the first case. Yes. So after that, next is protocol stack, right? So pay a little attention. Very important, as I said in BLE as well, we have different protocols for BLE as well as for this Zigbee also. So you can see this protocol stack of Zigbee. Let me clarify you this protocol stack of BLE, protocol stack of Zigbee, protocol stack of Wi-Fi. These are very important questions. One of them is displayed here. It is a protocol stack of Zigbee. It is Zigbee architecture, you can say. Right? So let us understand those different layers one by one. The Zigbee wireless networking protocol layers, which are shown here, these protocol layers are based on open system interconnect. That is what we call as a OSI reference model. It is very, very much similar to that OSI reference model. At the top, at the bottom, there you will find two layers, which are defined by IEEE 802.15.4, which is written on the right hand side. Right, it is based on those standard, and it defines specifications of physical layer and MAC layer. That defines physical layer and MAC layer. This Zigbee standard defines only the networking and applications and security layers of the protocols, and adopt 802.15.4 physical layer and MAC layer as a part of Zigbee protocol. Right? So I hope the need of those layers are known to you. Let me tell you the responsibilities that are carried out by this PHY. PHY stands for physical layer. First responsibility, first role that it plays is bit by bit transmission. This is the first role. Second function associated with this physical layer is synchronization. Synchronization means the rate at which transmitter sends, the same rate has to be adopted by receiver as well. Otherwise, there will be a loss of data. So, synchronization is achieved by physical layer, and it is very, very important. Physical layer is responsible for data transmission. Then second role, that third role, that is responsibility of this physical layer is electric to physical medium interface. It provides electric to physical medium interface. Means all the antennas and radio transceiver is a part of this physical layer. So electrical signals are getting converted into electromagnetic radiation. At the receiver, electromagnetic radiations are converted into electric signals. This is the role to be played by physical layer. That is what we call as a EM radiation. At at what frequency the EM radiation would be there? It would be at 868 megahertz. It would be at 915 megahertz, and it will be at 2.4 gigahertz. So these many roles are to be played by physical layer. That is what PHY. After that, second layer that we have is a MAC. MAC stands for Medium Access Control Layer. Medium Access Control Layer performs two tasks. One of them is subpart of data link layer. It is a subpart of data link layer. And second, it is responsible for transmission of packet to and from to and fro. Right, so it is responsible for transmission of the packet. After that, we have this network layer. Right, so network layer, most of you are aware of the functionalities associated with the network layer. First one is formation of network. This is the role, this is the task to be performed by network layer. After that, forwarding of packets through best path, it is another role to be played. Then it assigns 16-bit network address to that packet. Also, it route the network packet. These are the roles associated with network layer. Right? So after that, we have application layer, APL. This APL is divided into different sub layers, which are like APS, AO, and ZDO. Right, so let's start from APS. APS stands for application support sublayer. APS is nothing but application support sublayer. I hope you are able to see that. Is it visible? It's in application layer. Here it is. Application support sublayer. Right. So it is responsible for binding of tables. Then it forward the messages. Then group address identification and management is responsibility of this layer. Application support sublayer. Then address mapping from 64-bit to, let's say, extended address to 16-bit network address. These are all functions performed by this APS. Also, the fragmentation and reassembly of packet is done at this layer. These are the roles associated with application support sublayer. After that, we have AO. AO stands for application object. So you will find it here, application object. Right. So application object is having only one responsibility to be performed. It is send and receive the data, appropriate data. After that, we have ZDO. ZDO stands for Zigbee Device Object. ZDO is responsible for initialization of APS and network layers. Also, it performs device discovery and determination. These are the tasks associated with ZDO. And last but not the least is security services. This is the component remaining. Security services. Now you know this better. Encryption and decryption. This is the task performed by security services, and another one is key distribution. So key distribution is performed at this security level. Now, very similar to the packet structuring that we have learned in BLE, here also we need to understand the packet structuring. How the packet structuring is done here at different layers. Right, so how those packets are formed, how the different fields are getting added with the packets. Let's see on the next screen. This is the Zigbee packet, and one by one, let me tell you what exactly it is. This is APS frame, means application sublayer. This is the frame present at that layer. After that, we have network layer. So network layer header, footers are added here. Then we have MAC frame, MAC layer. So MAC layer added its preamble, header, and footer. Then we have physical layer here. So at physical layer, what things are going to be added with that. So let us understand one by one, right from bottom to top, right? So in this particular packet, at a physical layer, whatever payload that the physical layer receives, this physical layer appends those two things. One is called as SHR, right? So this is this is going to be transmitted first, and this end is going to be transmitted last, and this is physical layer payload. At physical layer, this SHR is going to be appended. What do you mean by SHR? SHR is nothing but synchronization header. SHR stands for synchronization header. That includes start beat, stop beat, parity beats, right? So it simply ensures the synchronization. Start beat, stop beat, and parity beats are appended here. After that, we have this PHR. PHR stands for physical header, physical layer header, PHY header, right? So this is containing payload length information. So whatever the length of this payload is, the information is included in this PHR, physical layer header, PHY header. So the length of PHY payload is appended here, right? So those two things are appended by physical layer. Rest of the thing is nothing but a data. If we go up, MAC layer is responsible for adding this header and footer, right? So those two fields are added by MAC layer, and let me tell you, this MHR is nothing but MAC header, right? So MAC header is nothing but addressing and security information. This MHR contains addressing and security information. After that, at the end, we have this MFR. This MFR is MAC footer. MAC footer will contain 16-bit frame check sequence. This MAC footer will consist of 16-bit frame sequence, right? And this verification algorithm as well. After that, at the network layer, what things we have? At a network layer, we have network header, NHR. This network layer, network header consists of network layer addressing and control information, right? And at application layer, different fields that are involved in this network payload is AHR. AHR stands for application header. This application header, it consists of control information. In an auxiliary header, next one is auxiliary header. It consists of security keys. This auxiliary header consists of security keys. After that, we have MIC. MIC stands for message integrity code. This message integrated code is appended to detect the unauthorized change in the content of message. And lastly, this is APS payload. APS payload means application payload. This means actual data. Application payload means actual data, right? So rest of the things just are added together to form this Zigbee packet structure. I hope this Zigbee packet structure, the roles associated with different layers are known, right? So with that, let us proceed further. I hope all the things related with the this protocol stack and packet structuring is understood. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we will proceed further. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So next one is Zigbee characteristic, like very similar to the characteristics that we have learned for BLE. I have listed the characteristics which are related with the Zigbee as well. So you can easily compare different technologies. So if I ask you the task to compare BLE and Zigbee, you should be able to do that, because in the same sequence I am teaching you the Zigbee. The sequence which we have followed for BLE, in the same sequence we are learning this characteristics of Zigbee. We are learning this Zigbee as well. Now you can see here, it is said to be like low cost, and I hope some of you have gone through the price of Zigbee module. It's a low cost, around 200 to 300 you can get the Zigbee module. Then you have low power consumption. So of course is battery operated devices, and it is a battery operated device, and you can use it for battery operated device because its sleep time is more, active time is less, data rate is moderate, and range is large. This range is high. So third characteristic is data rate. Data rate of Zigbee module is 250 kbps. So this you can say as a low data rate. After that, short transmission range means as far as Wi-Fi is concerned, this range transmission range is less because its range is 100 meter. But if you compare with the BLE, the range of communication is large. If you compare with the Wi-Fi, the range of communication is less. That's why it is mentioned short transmission range. After that, it's a flexible protocol design which is suitable for many applications. So battery operated devices can easily make use of Zigbee functionality. Then we have three different operating frequencies. One is 686 megahertz, another is 915 megahertz, and third one is 2.4 gigahertz. Then it supports power saving mode and sleep mode. Then we have data rate 250 kbps, as I said. It follows which standard? IEEE 802.15.4 standard is followed by this Zigbee. After that, modulation technique. Which modulation technique is used in Zigbee? This could be a question. So answer, it could be anything among those three. Binary phase shift keying, BPSK. Then ASK stands for amplitude shift keying, and last one is QPSK. So any one of them can be. So QPSK, what is QPSK? What is the long form? QPSK stands for quadrature phase shift keying. QPSK stands for quadrature phase shift keying. So modulation, it can use any one of them: binary phase shift keying, BPSK; amplitude shift keying, ASK; quadrature phase shift keying, QPSK. So it can use any one of them. Topology. The topology that has been followed here is star topology and mesh topology. Star or mesh. Which network that make use of this Zigbee is a PAN, personal area network. Make use of Zigbee for device-to-device communication. It's very simple in construction, easy to deploy anywhere. And lastly, it support large number of nodes, around 64,000. Those many number of nodes you can connect in this type of wireless sensor network. So these are the characteristics of Zigbee. Now, what are the limitations? There are a few limitations with the Zigbee as well. Route reconstruction is costlier. If the connection is lost, route reconstruction would be costlier, because I told you, if you could go for building a sensor network of around 6,000, 64,000 these things, and if you are following mesh topology, then if one of the sensor node goes down, it's very, very difficult to identify the node which has went down, and route reconstruction is very difficult. This is what explained here. Latency is longer, since say if it's following this mesh topology, means what, your PAN coordinator may be connected with let's say node A, then node B is connected with a point PAN coordinator through node A. Then let's have a node C which is connected to PAN coordinator through node A and B, right? So the of course the latency is more, because it takes a time to travel. The packet takes a time to travel from PAN coordinator to node A. Then it take a time to travel from node A to B, and then it take a time to travel from node B to C. right? So the latency would be more if you compare it with BLE, because BLE makes use of star topology. Right, so star topology is having a little bit better latency. Here the latency is a major issue. After that, we have small packets over the network, very similar limitations. We have listed this limitation for BLE as well. So very small packet, we are sending it over a large network. After that, data rate is very less. 250 kbps is very low data rate. So Zigbee operates at 250 kbps data rate. After that, applications. So what applications we can find for Zigbee? So you can find different applications here, industrial and commercial. This is one of the application. Then we have sensors and automation. Right. So sensor automation is another application area. Personal healthcare, as I said, suppose you want to monitor a patient. So the patient can have different fields of parameters, fields of measurement, such as the patient, you can monitor that patient with respect to his body temperature. You can monitor that patient with respect to heart rate. You can monitor with respect to ECG, EEG, right? So lot of things are there, pulse rate, lot of things are there which can be monitored for a critical patients. So with respect to that, you can gather those data and you can send it to a central control unit through Zigbee. Right, so you can have the Zigbee module mounted on a body of patient and along with some sensors, and this Zigbee module will be able to transmit the recorded data to the centralized or computer, you can say. So computer will be able to put that data on the cloud through internet, and at the other end, your doctor will be able to access that cloud. Your doctor will be able to see that data to check the physical condition of that patient. That's why it is mentioned, like it can be used in personal healthcare. After that, diagnostic sensors, right? So those diagnostic sensors can make use of Zigbee. Toys and games, they are also used using Zigbee protocols. Portable educational devices. Portable educational devices means what? Tablet, right? So tablet can also make use of this Zigbee. Home automation, right? So suppose if I'm having Zigbee transmitter receiver, I can be easily able to turn on and turn off the fans, tubes, television, AC, fridge, mixer. A lot of things are there which can be automated, and through that automation, you can make use of Zigbee. After that, PC peripherals. So like USB, you can have Zigbee protocol. So your imagine that your mouse is able to communicate with your laptop or computer through Zigbee protocol instead of USB. So the range of such communication would be 100 meter, right? So then mouse, keyboard, joysticks, they can be used as they can make use of Zigbee. Then, in addition to that, your television, your VCR, then DVD, right? So those things can make a use of Zigbee protocols, and your consumer electronics can also make use of Zigbee. Right, so that's all about Zigbee. If you have any doubt of around this, we can easily identify and we can uh, do that. But the thing which I wanted to add here is a comparison between BLE and Zigbee. So I hope everyone were listening. We want to add a comparison slide here. I wanted to add this comparison slide. What I can suggest, what I can write here, BLE versus Zigbee. Let's do the comparison. Here I can write BLE, and in the second column I can write ZigBee. So let us start comparing. I will be giving you the hint. Based on that, you need to tell me what parameter value that particular technology have. So first comparison point will be with respect to, mm, let's say, let me add one more column so that the comparison point I will add on the left hand side. The parameter on which it is going to be compared is, let's say, IEEE standard. Which IEEE standard is followed by Bluetooth?
802.15.1.
Correct. 802.15.1. This is the standard followed by BLE. Whereas in ZigBee, it's 802.15.4.
4.
Yes. The next, what I can suggest here is data rate. Very important. Data rate. Data rate supported by ZigBee is,
Low.
see, we instead of writing low and high, what I would suggest is we will write specific data rate, and BLE I think supports data rate up to 300 kbps. The data rate that is been supported by BLE is 300 kbps. So let me write here 300 kbps. Whereas in ZigBee,
250.
correct, 250 kbps. Right. So this is what data rate comparison. Then I would like to write here range. Range of BLE is around, let's say, up to 10, or you can say 10 to 15, 10 to 15 meter. Right. Whereas in ZigBee, what would be the range?
10 to 100.
Yes, it's up to 100 meter. Right. So this is the range. We discussed data rate, range is compared. Then topology. What topology is used in BLE? It's a star topology. Whereas in this, we have star topology as well as mesh topology. Right? So this is topology. Then we have modulation. Modulation technique. Which modulation technique is used? Modulation technique used is GFSK. GFSK stands for Gaussian Frequency Shift Keying. Whereas in ZigBee, the modulation technique is used is BPSK.
BPSK,
Correct.
ASK, QPSK.
Correct. BPSK, binary phase shift keying. Then we have ASK, amplitude shift keying, and we have QPSK, quadrature phase shift keying. So this is in terms of modulation. Then frequency, very very important. Operating frequency. Operating frequency. Right. So operating frequency, a BLE operates at 2.4 gigahertz frequency, whereas the ZigBee works at three different frequencies, and those are 686 megahertz. Then we have 915 megahertz, and one more band which is similar to that.
2400.
Correct, which is similar to that 2.4 gigahertz, which is similar to BLE. Right. So BLE and ZigBee is operating at same frequency. Then anything else that we can compare here? Latency. Here you can write low latency. Here you can write high latency since it's using mesh topology. Cost, if you compare, you will find they are same. So cost of BLE is low, cost of ZigBee is also low. These are similarities. Power consumption. Power consumption is low. Here also the power consumption is low.
Bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth you can write that would give you the range, and actually I told you both the things, both of them works at 2.4, so bandwidth is same. So 2.4, this BLE is also operating at 2.4. Zigbee is also operating at 2.4. I told you this this band of frequency is used in Europe. This band of frequency is used in North America, and rest of the globe is using 2.4. That means same frequency. If same frequency band, bandwidth is same, utilized for BLE as well as for Zigbee. Right. So anything else that we can compare? Right. So these many things. Right. So I leave it to you. Those 2 3 points you can add into that. If you go thoroughly through those BLE and Zigbee, of course you will find those 3 different points here. What I'll do is I will leave those 3 points to you. You need to find these remaining points. So how many points I have generated? 1, 2, 9 differentiating points I have suggested. So I leave it to you. You can add a couple of points here, differentiating points by referring to the internet resources. Right. So with that, let's move on to the Wi-Fi. Next technology that we deal with is a Wi-Fi. And let me tell you the introduction of Wi-Fi, and then we will stop actually. So can someone tell me what is Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi means, or the long form of Wi-Fi? What do you mean by Wi-Fi? Right. So let me tell you. Is it audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me tell you why Wi-Fi means wireless fidelity. And initially, when the Wi-Fi came in existence in 1997, initially the speed that has been supported by Wi-Fi was 1 to 2 Mbps. 1 to 2 Mbps. Let's assume the speed is of 2 Mbps. But the major drawback of that initial phases of Wi-Fi is this data rate, and it was going to get divided by number of users, so it depends upon user density. Suppose in a Wi-Fi network only one user is there. In 1997 he was able to get around 2 Mbps speed, because it was a maximum thing, 2 Mbps. If there are two users, means this 2 Mbps is going to be divided by 2. So one person will get 1 Mbps. But we know that how many users are there if a Wi-Fi network is deployed. So if 100 users are there in that this one Wi-Fi network, you can assume, you can imagine the speed of network, because 2 Mbps total bandwidth is going to be divided by 100. So whatever answer is there, that would be the speed of internet that you will be getting at your portable devices. This was the drawback in 1997. Right. So the data rate is inversely proportional to the user density. As user density go on increasing, your data rate is go on decreasing. This was the drawback, major drawback faced by Wi-Fi. Right. So it is used for short range communication as well as for long range communication. This wireless fidelity standards were was used. It become a very popular wireless technology, and that uses radio frequency to transmit and receive the data through air. Right. So Wi-Fi is based on 802.11 standards. Means what? 802.11, it simply means that it's a Wi-Fi. After that, lot of extensions are there, like A, Class B, Class C, Class N, Class G. Lot of standards are there that have different protocols defined for that standard. But in 1999, there were two standards of 802.11. It's Class A, and Class B. Right. So these were the things associated with 802.11.a in 1999. This Wi-Fi is introduced by Wi-Fi Alliance, who developed Zigbee. The answer is Zigbee Alliance. Who developed this Wi-Fi? Answer is Wi-Fi Alliance. This Wi-Fi Alliance is a non-profit organization, non-profit standard organization, and it is also called as a Wi-Fi Ethernet Compatibility Alliance. Right. So what are different benefits of having Wi-Fi? And now if I ask you which standard you would prefer among this Wi-Fi, Bluetooth or Zigbee, of course the answer would be Wi-Fi, because you are getting long range communication, you are getting high speed. That's why, of course, the answer would be Wi-Fi. But let me highlight some benefits. The benefits are like benefits of Wi-Fi are like wireless Ethernet. Of course, it's a wireless, so having a wireless itself is the benefit, right? So Wi-Fi is an wireless replacement to the Ethernet. So instead of Wi-Fi, if you try to access the internet, you need to have the wired connection. We call it as Ethernet connection. So you need to connect that Ethernet cable. Usually we have Cat5 or Cat6 cables, right? So those cables, and along with that connector, what people call RJ45. I don't know exact name. RJ45, right? So I hope all of you might have heard this connector RJ45. With that, the Ethernet is connected, Ethernet cable is connected, and then you can only access the internet. Now, this Wi-Fi is the cable replacement. It is a cable replacement. This is first benefit. Second benefit is extended access. Right. So extended access means in the absence of wires, in the absence of cables, it extends the access to the places where wires and cables cannot go, or where it is very expensive to go. Right. So suppose at Sweri we have very huge building. You might have heard, like multi-storied building. You might have seen. Now, instead of going to the topmost floor with a wired connection, what would be the preference? You can have Wi-Fi connectivity, and this Wi-Fi hub, Wi-Fi device, Wi-Fi router will provide the connectivity in the topmost floor instead of running all the way through all the floors with a wired connection. You can have a Wi-Fi router which can get connected with all the host, all the nodes on the top floor. This is what I mean, right? So the in absence of wires and cables, this Wi-Fi extends the access to the places where wired or cables cannot go. Then next benefit of having Wi-Fi is cost reduction. uh, 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 Absolutely true, because we are providing alternate solution for the wires. As long as physical material is concerned, you have to you have to bear the cost of wires. But here in this case, in case of Wi-Fi, you simply have to bear the cost of only Wi-Fi access point. Right? Once you install the Wi-Fi access point, you can deploy n number of hosts connected to that Wi-Fi access point. Right? So this is reduction in the cost. In absence of wires and cables, you can bring down the cost. The next one is mobility. So mobility means what? You are able to move here and there without losing your services. This is what mobility is. So wires are tied to your device, and with wires you are not allowed to move your location. But going wireless means you have a freedom to change your location without losing your connection. This is what mobility is. Then we have flexibility. Flexibility means what? Create an opportunity for new devices. That means you have a flexibility to add a new device in the network. This is what flexibility is. Right? So these are the benefits that we must know regarding Wi-Fi. Maybe in the next lecture we will discuss this protocol stack and MAC frame. Right? So in very similar manner we will discuss Wi-Fi as well. So I hope it is understood. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Do you have any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can ask. If you don't have any doubt, if you have mentioned your roll number in the chat box, you are allowed to leave the meeting. You can leave the meeting if you don't have any doubt.
Hello, sir.
Amit ji? Yes, Amit?
So, can you tell something about tomorrow's the drive about Samudra Institute?
Okay. See, a lot of things are there with this drive. The thing is, basically, it's a training institute. After getting selected in that, you need to get trained with them, right? Everything I think that has been clarified in a pre-placement talk, which has been conducted in last month. We have conducted that pre-placement talk in last month actually. SIMS. This Raymond Swami might have clarified the things. but still, if I get any additional information, I'll let
Yes,
you
sir.
know. Second thing, as far as tomorrow's process, I have emailed the things to you. You can check your email. Otherwise, what I'll do is, if you could tell me your email ID, I will immediately forward the process, tomorrow's process. What
I
is your
have
email ID?
got the process, sir. Tomorrow's process I have seen, but
Okay.
some things are not clarified.
Means which things?
Uh, regarding the fee structure or something like.
Okay, okay. The fee structure is not an issue. First of all, get qualified into that. After that, I'll get connected with the Raymond Swami, and I will take you on a call. Right. So conference call we will
Okay,
have.
sir. Thank you.
Right, right. So
Thank you.
first of all, get try to get selected into that, and then we will definitely talk on that as well.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.